Peace and respect, everyone. This is Coach Gus Gauntlett. Before we get into this week's episode, I definitely think it's an important time to um, just speak out and condemn the fact that the Louisville, Justice Department and Justice Department of this country continues to fail and not give any type of just accountability and retaliation and punishment to the officers who murdered Breonna Taylor. As basketball coaches, as I mentioned, about a month ago, when there was another similar case just like this, as there have been many before, I really hope that we can use our platform and our access to young players to speak out against systemic racism, especially anti-Black racism, which is so deeply rooted in this country. And I really hope that all of us as coaches can continue to do the work and take inspiration from professional players and organizers all around this world that are stepping up and trying to change this system that is not respecting the life of a human being, specifically of Black people. So while I hope you enjoy this episode, I'm also going to include some links at the bottom of the description for justiceforbreonnataylor.org, as well as for the Black Lives Matter Louisville chapter. And if you can donate or just learn about what's going on, if you don't know about what's going on, please educate yourself. If you can donate or support in other ways, please hit up the links and make your voice heard. And let's try to move forward in a positive way and change what's happening. All right. Peace and love. Peace, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Get Buckets with Coach Gus Gauntlett and friends. This is episode 7, and we have our first guest from outside the friendly confines of California. I'm joined today by Coach Aaron Schuck, who's out of Gainesville, Georgia. He is entering his second year at Brenau University, coaching with the women's team, and entering his 14th year overall as a coach. I connected with Coach Aaron via Instagram. Shouts to the internet. I really like what he was posting and all the knowledge and the content that he was sharing. He also has a really dope website, which I'm going to put a link of in the description below. So definitely check out his website. He's doing a lot of great things for players across the country. Aaron, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you having me and reaching out, and I'm looking forward to, sharing a little bit and learning a little bit too. So.
Absolutely. One of the things that I hope all the viewers check out on your website, and one thing that I really appreciate on your website was the player profiles that you created for different players across the country. We know that, at all times, but even especially now with seasons up in the air in different places around the country, for those seniors, especially who want to, make that jump to the next level,
right.
Having that video player profile showing highlights or workout highlights and skill sets can be so helpful to help them get to where they need to be. So I really appreciate you playing that role in featuring them that way. So definitely everyone check out Aaron's website, the link below, and just find ways to support.
I appreciate. Yeah, I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I think, it gives the kids an opportunity that, because we don't know what's going to happen, but also it's one place where a college can or a college coach can go and boom, it's got everything right there, because we're going to update it as the season goes on. So it's organized, it's professional looking, and it's all in one spot. So we'll see what happens with it.
Awesome. Much appreciation and respect for that. All right. Well, we're going to get right into it like we always do. As always, Aaron, I'm going to have you share your play first to get that bucket if your team was down 1 with 10 seconds to go. And let's see what you got.
Well, I got this right here, and it's a FIBA play. It's my piece of paper. I don't have all the fancy stuff. It's all in my office, but it's a play I got out of FIBA. And basically, what you do is you start off is you got that ball screen right there. Can you see it? All right. So we got that ball screen right there. The 5's coming up, setting the ball screen for the 1. 1's coming off it. 3 is going to clear, okay? And then 5's going to roll right to the top of the key area. And what's going to happen on the second frame right here is 5 is going to set a flare screen for the 2, and we're looking to get a shot off. We're looking to win the game. We're gonna if we're down 2, we're going to win the game. I don't care. We're not going to overtime. So 1's going to come off it, and 2's the shooter. They're going to come off that screen for that flare screen for the 5, and we're going to pitch it over, and we're going to try to get a 3 for the win. One of the things that I would talk about, coming out of the timeout is, we'll know right away if they're going to start switch every screen, because 10 seconds left. You don't want to leave someone unguarded. if they switch that first initial ball screen, then we're going to know to probably screen our own man on this flare. So 5, whoever's guarding 5 at the time, so they can't switch, he's going to screen his own man. That way, when 2 comes off it, he's going to be wide open. So that's just something I would note into the timeout, because I know personally if we're on defense, we're probably going to switch every screen. We're not going to leave anything open. So it's simple, it's quick, and, even the 2 could have the option to cut right at the rim too, coming off that screen if it's there, because that's why we cleared out the backside. So it's simple, it's quick. I think you can get a good shot off it. And so that's one thing that I would probably draw up, and we'd look to go to. So
awesome. I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing I love about sets like that is that they appear really simple. I mean, there's really only 2 major actions right there in terms of moving and putting off the screen, but players are going to play. So they're going to read that defense. As you're saying, if they're switching, maybe they're playing it one way. If they're not switching, they're playing it a different way. If the defenders are overplaying, maybe even the 5 is actually just slipping that screen.
He could absolutely
going right to the rack.
Absolutely. That's why we've cleared out the middle for that kind of stuff to happen. Because at the end of the day, the players got to make plays. One thing we say that, as the season goes on, I don't want to add 2 more plays at the end of the season. I want players to be able to step up and make more plays. So yeah, it clears, and that's the thing. They would have the freedom anytime they see an opportunity. Hell, it probably wouldn't be available, but the 1 could even turn the corner coming off that ball screen if it was there. But yeah, they have the option to make reads, and but that would be the finish. That would be the part of the set we're trying to get a wide open 3 to win the game. But before that happened, through the flow of the offense or the flow of the play, yeah, they have the option to make a read and slip to the rim and whatnot. So absolutely.
Awesome. And I love your note about, hey, if we're down 2, we're going to get that 3.
Yeah, we're going for the win. We're not going to overtime. That's my mentality. I told someone the other day, I'm a gunslinger. Sometimes it, hurts me. Sometimes it helps me. But yeah, we're going for the win. Because I think that puts a mindset in your players too. Like, he's got confidence in us. He knows that he knows we can execute this and bang the shot. So yeah, we're playing for the win, no doubt.
I love it. Very cool, man. And have you ever used that in a game before? Have you had that opportunity yet, or maybe this upcoming season?
I just saw this one a couple weeks ago and really liked it. So I watch a lot of international basketball because you see stuff like professional basketball at every level, NBA, whatever it is great. But I like to watch a lot of international basketball, and I literally saw this a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Man, I like that a lot. That's really good." So
beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so much knowledge in our hands at any moment. Watching games around the world, YouTube or via other sites on the internet. What a great resource.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose, because sometimes it can become overwhelming. You can confuse yourself with all the stuff out there. So you just got to pick and choose and find what works best for you and what you like, and obviously what fits your players, skill set.
100%. Yeah, matching to your players, that's a huge part. I appreciate you that note. So true. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your play. I like it. I hope it gets you some buckets this season with Brenau. And I'm gonna hop right in. I'm gonna bring mine up, and we'll get it in. All right. So usually I like to draw plays that are just in a half court set, like if we were just bringing the ball down with 10 seconds left. But I got a little inspired today to create an out-of-bounds play. And like many out-of-bounds plays, of course, it could be easily, converted or translated into a half-court set.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But for today, I'm just going to share it as an out-of-bounds play. So we're going to have, assuming a general side out of bounds, we're going to have our 1 here, going to have our 5 up here, going to have our 2 at the top, and then our 3 and our 4 creating space on the weak side. So we got a nice lot of space going on. First entry is going to be to the 2 up top. And so at first, this is just going to look like your pretty standard, enter the ball and then come off the screen for a backdoor cut. So the 1's going to pass the 2 on top, going to set their defender up here. 5 is setting that screen, and then we got 1 going backdoor. So it looks like that. And obviously, if that is wide open, I would love my players to make that that bucket and keep it moving. And if the defense is, aware of that, maybe they see a lot of space in here in the middle of the key, so starting to expect maybe some type of movement that's going to end up there. What we're
Right.
looking for in terms of completing the action actually is the one actually coming off that cut. And once they hit this key, the side of the key right here, I want my 4 at the same time to start creeping up here. And then the 1 actually is going to shoot right back up to that, right above the free throw line here. And the 2 is going to enter that ball into the 1, make sure that 1, and the 1's going to cut really hard to make sure they keep the defender on their back.
Right.
So make it nice, as easy possible for the 2 to make that entry pass. And then, as with every play, timing can be really, really important here. So as that 1 is coming up here to the top of the key, the 4 is coming up to set this screen, and that's going to be actually our second backdoor screen, which we're hoping is open for the easy bucket. So the 2 is going to enter it in here to the 1. The 3 is coming up, and right when that 1 catches that ball, we're looking for no delay. We're looking for that nice screen right here. 3 is going to run their defender in, come off that back door, and we're looking for that 1 with that high post entry to the 3 for a layup. So the reason I like this play is that, backdoor cuts are often one of the hardest cuts to cover in basketball. So I think when you have 2 really structured backdoor cuts with good solid screens and movement going on, so the defense isn't just standing there waiting to react, I think that by the second backdoor cut, you have a much higher probability that offensive player is going to be open. So I think that this 3, especially with a nice screen from the 4 and a good setup, is going to be open. And that 1 who I'm going to trust, as my primary ball handler usually, to be able to make a nice pass leading that 3 for the bucket.
Sure. And again, too, if whoever's defending 3, they try to jump that, 4 slips right to the rim. So that's an option that's available too. Like you said, you've got a couple back screens taking place. I like to think of things too, and that's why I like this. I try to think about what types of screens and different types of cuts do teams work on defending the most. And sometimes there's some. I'm not trying to downplay it by any means, but that's typically something that a lot of teams don't work on defending is back cutting off back screens and whatnot. So when you got 2 of them, that just that makes it tougher to guard. But yeah, and I like that. I like 4 screening for 3 right there a lot. That's my favorite part of this set. Right? I like that action a lot.
Awesome.
So,
a lot of space. I'm a big fan of. There's almost like the 1 doing some high post moves. You're going to keep trying to keep that defender on your back, probably reverse pivoting to face up to make that pass. Maybe they want to get fancy, and maybe they're still looking at the 2, and they see that 3 at the corner. That they drop a little bounce pass, leading them like that. So I also like the creativity of putting that 1 in different positions, not always above the key, but making them make decisions where it gets a little tight. The space gets a little tighter here around the key.
In the initial look too, there's in 10 seconds left. Now you're putting 3 and 4, whoever's guarding them, you're putting their defenders in a situation. They got to make a decision because with 10 seconds left, you don't want to give anything wide open. So are they going to be in help,
right?
Or are they going to play a little bit tighter away from the ball too? So
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I like that's good. That's good.
Cool.
I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, please do that. That's one of my favorite things about this show. We're 7 episodes in at this point, so that's 14 plays that are readily available for the people of the basketball world to take and maybe use it as it is or change it up, whatever. Like, this is really about creating a treasure chest of plays for people to use at any time.
Right.
Definitely.
No, that's good stuff. I like it.
Definitely. Thank you. All right. Well, I like to wrap up every show with just a question, unscripted question for all of our coach guests. So my question for you is, with coaching at Brenau and also your work with training players in different places around the country, what do you see is the biggest need for the players that you interact with most? Is there like a consistent skill set or a consistent element of the game that you think really needs to be strengthened more in the players that you work with?
I think players need to learn to simplify their game more. And what I mean by that is they need to learn how to be more efficient, getting from point A to point B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. I'm a big believer in the term and the quote or whatever you want to call it, less is more. And so you see a lot of players that, they're going through their training or when they're working on the game by themselves, they're doing a lot of things in those workouts that they don't do in a game. And so then all of a sudden they wonder why, well, coach, I'm not making as many shots. Well, it doesn't really, your training and when you work on your game by yourself, it needs to align with game situations. And So I would say that learning how to simplify their game more, being really good at a couple things, that way it translates and carries over into a game a little bit better. But yeah, just simplifying, being more compact, more explosive, getting to the rim as quickly as possible, and as explosive as possible, I think is something that players, I would say, they need to put an emphasis on, and they really need to get better at. So yeah, that's probably where I would go
That's
with
that's
that.
a that's a beautiful
Footwork
answer.
too. Footwork.
Mm,
Definitely footwork too. Being explosive off your pivot foot. What did it? So yeah, footwork also.
I love that. Well, I mean, those two really go hand in hand, right? When you have good footwork, you're
Right.
making more efficient moves. And you're not wasting time. I mean, when you watch the NBA, WNBA, especially the sharpshooters, when they're coming off screens, stepping into that ball, there's no wasted steps. They're
There's
figuring out
none.
how to get that ball as quickly as possible, get the shot off, and
Absolutely.
it's a thing of beauty.
They're making split-second decisions. They're catching it, and they've played so much, and they're so good that they already know what they're going to do by the time the ball's caught, because they see how the defense is rotating, so they already see what's going to be open. Whether they're catching it and letting it go, catching it and they're attacking, I feel like they've probably made up their mind before that ball's even in their hands. So
100%. And I really like what you said as well about practicing and training situations and shots that you're going to find yourself in the game. And I think a big part of that as well is knowing yourself as a player. When I work out with players, I like to ask them, who are you as a player? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where are your spots on the floor that you're taking
right.
your shots? And if a player can't answer that, that's another great skill to develop, of them just learning how to assess their own ability, assess their hot spots, where they're a little cold, so we can work that out. That's a great point.
Yep. You want to train kids, and you want to you want to train to their skill set. You don't want to make them something they're not. Just because they're, in high school, I played with a 6'1" post player. I mean, he was undersized, but man, that was his skill set. He was extremely good, and it would have been pointless to try to turn him into a guard, because that wasn't his strength. He was good around the rim. He had good. He could score over both shoulders, and he went and he played small college basketball. So you really want to you don't want to try to turn these kids into something they're not, because and you're just being counterproductive. You want to really make them. You want to make them even better at what they're already good at. And so that's big with player development, I feel like. So
Awesome. Aaron, I really appreciate your time and your knowledge and everything that you do for the game. Everyone, please check out Aaron's website. I'm gonna put it there at the bottom of the video. He's doing great things. Aaron, I wish you a great season. I know you said you have your first practice tomorrow. Congratulations.
that's right. Yeah, we're ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, I know out here in California, they moved normally it's a winter sport in high school, and they moved it actually to the spring, and that's still up in the air. So it's great to see that at your university in Georgia, that y'all are getting it in starting tomorrow.
Definitely. So I appreciate you having me on, man. We'll stay in touch. So
All right. You have a great night.
all right, thanks. You too.